All right, good afternoon, everyone. This is Nitya Ramachandra from the NR Hour Sports Show. This is episode 1042. We are live on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Spotify, on all the podcast platforms. So, fans, you know about our speaker app. You can tune in on that app to ask some questions. Today's guest, we have a talented sideline reporter, host who covers the Houston Texans and the Dynamo Dash soccer team. Her name is Janvi Oza. Thanks for joining the show. She, like I said, she's really a talented, inspiring in the woman in sports industry. And also, fans, please tune in, ask questions to her on the speaker app. And first of all, Jonathan, how are you and your family doing? Thank you for joining the show. And like you said, like I said, your resume is amazing, and uh, really looking forward to this interview.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I'm really glad you reached out. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, good. Just busy. My team is busy helping me out, editing all the shows, and obviously covering games in person and doing in-person interviews. But I've seen your stuff, and fans, you got to tune in. And she is amazing. And but how are you doing? Hanging in there?
Good, just busy with work and school, and we're in the middle of football season. The soccer season is about to wrap up. The Dash are in the playoffs, so exciting times here, but busy as usual, but can't complain.
Yeah, so let's get started. How you got into the sports industry? Tell our fans what made you get interested in covering sports, and did you play sports growing up?
Gosh, no, I did not play sports growing up. I My passion for sports grew in middle school, and I always knew that I wanted to do something different. Like, I wasn't your average kid that wanted to do business, law, or medical, or any of that. Like, everything was just really boring to me, but I always liked history and being in the moment, of big events. And I started to kind of dabble in different areas of sports and news and all of those things. So I really grew a passion for sports in middle school and thought it was phenomenal. I just thought the way um football was played was great. I really just grew my fandom and passion for it in middle school. And in high school, my junior year of high school, I knew I wanted to work in sports, but I didn't know what exactly I wanted to work in. There's so many different areas and aspects of sports. I mean, you could do so many things. I just knew that I wanted to be on TV and I wanted to tell stories. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try being a sports reporter. And so far, it's kind of worked out well, knock on wood. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into sports.
Yeah. So speaking of breaking barriers, obviously it's rare to see. I'm Indian too, by the way, so it's rare to see Indian people get into the sports industry. But now we see more of it. A lot of Indian people are in there, like Kevin Nagandi or some other reporters out there. But what's it like just to represent the Indian community in the sports industry, especially as a woman?
Yeah, I think there's not many Indians in sports at all. You don't really it's not a common thing to work in sports as a brown person. And I think that not everyone kind of has is given that gift to go work in sports, and I think I was given that gift by God, so it's my job to kind of break those barriers and kind of normalize it. Because even when I still tell people that I'm a sideline reporter and I work in sports, they're like, what? Like, you're not the average business person or a doctor. Like, no. And I think it's okay to stand out from the crowd and follow your passion. I think that's kind of a misconception that happens a lot in the brown community. Is kids usually don't follow their passion. They usually do what their parents have told them to do because that's what they want them to do. But I think as a brown kid in America, or even anywhere where you are, really, it's important to follow your passion and do what's best for you and kind of follow your own dreams, because later down the road, if you don't do that, I think you're going to end up regretting it and it's going to suck. So it's great to see that there are definitely more Indians in sports now. You just have to find your community and your tribe and stick with them and empower each other and really uplift each other. That's the great thing that I see in sports a lot now, is there's a community of people, and there's a good sense of empowerment going on.
Yeah, so we are live with sideline reporter host Janvi Oza. Speaking of fan questions, we already have a fan question for you in our app. Someone wants to know they want to know how nervous were you when you did your first interview in person?
Gosh, I'm still nervous to this day, you know? I think if you're not nervous, then you're comfortable. And the point for me is to be uncomfortable because you have to be uncomfortable in order to grow personally and professionally. It's nerve-wracking, you know, talking to a coach, but wherever you start, um, they understand like, hey, this person is just doing their job. They're gonna ask me whatever question they want to ask, and it's their job to kind of answer how they want to. So yeah, it's nervous, you know, going up to a coach and be like, hey, can I interview you for a little bit? Especially after they lose, you know, it's a little more tough. You have to really know how to approach them, and that's not something that you usually know how to do before. It's something you learn on the job as you go, you know. But yeah, it's every time I do it, it's nerve wracking. It
Okay.
doesn't get easier, it gets harder, which is a good thing.
Mhm. Yeah, so for you, I gotta ask you, most reporters while they're growing up as a young kid, they like to commentate while they're sitting in front of the TV. They like to commentate or write down the stats or whatever. While you were growing up, did you ever like commentate the games you were watching, like cricket or whatever?
No, I actually never did that. Like I said, I didn't really know what I wanted to do up until my junior year of high school. And I never really did anything in high school to prepare myself for the TV world. And you know, I don't think I was ready to prepare myself. You know, I knew that once I got into college, I wanted to go ahead and make a head start into the sports reporting world. And I got involved into college athletics, and everything that I'm doing right now. But no, I never sat in front of my TV and commentated games. It just wasn't a thing that clicked to me. But that's okay. Like I think everyone's different and they're gonna do what they want to do. But I also didn't really know how to practice for being a reporter, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting into it, I really knew nothing.
Yeah, so the interesting thing I read about your stuff profile and a bio, and tell our fans you're mainly focused on the South Asian woman in sports, and what's that like, and explain that more, and what do you guys mainly focus on that area in the South Asian area?
Yeah, so I'm part of a group called South Asians in Sports. It's founded by an amazing woman, Neha. She used to be a professional tennis player, and you know she's done a really great initiative by creating this community so a bunch of South Asians all over the world can get together, connect with each other, because it's still a very small niche and there's not many people like us. So you know, I've connected with tons of people in that group, and you know, one thing that I really love about that group is we all connect with each other and we are all in touch. Like we're constantly checking on each other. We are doing meetups, we're doing networking, we're doing mentorship programs. So I think that another thing that I also learned by joining South Asians in Sports was realizing that there are Indian people who make it in the big leagues. Like my mentor, she's an NBA editor for The Athletic, and you know, it's sometimes hard to get a hold of these people, like because they're not usually findable. So you have to join these type of networks to grow your professional community and network, and you get to learn about so many different people's stories, how they got to where they are. And you know, it's a great organization. I think you should join it. You really get to meet a lot of people, and it's a great sense of community and uplifting type of message in there that I think a lot of us need in today's world and in today's industry.
Wow. We have another fan question for you. Someone wants to know, who did you look up? I mean, who do you look up to actually, as a woman reporter? And they want to know what's that one piece of advice you got so far in your career?
Okay, I'll answer the first question. So there's so many women that I look up to. Laura Oakman is literally my favorite person on this world. Jane Slater, who works with the NFL Network and reports on the Cowboys, she helped me so much during the pandemic. We did so many online Zooms and virtual office hours. She is amazing. Diana Rossini, Sarah Walsh, Carissa Thompson. I mean, the list goes on and on, you know. But I think all these women are amazing trailblazers and have done lots of great work for themselves professionally. So that's just a small number of women I look up to in the reporting world. But yeah, my piece of advice for you would be to really be yourself and to be authentic. If you try to be somebody else, you are going to absolutely hate yourself and people will notice. Trust me. just be yourself, like embrace who you are and figure out what your why is and let that integrate into your career. That is probably the best piece of advice I could give anybody. Even if it feels like the smallest piece of advice, sometimes the smallest piece is the best piece. You really just need to be yourself. You need to embrace who you are, embrace your authenticity, find your why and integrate it into your life and career, and that will take you places.
Yeah, I'm speaking of Jane. I love Jane Slater of what she does. I'm a big Cowboy fan, and she's amazing at what she does at her job. And good for you for listening to her, because she is the best, and also Laura too, obviously. So you have two good women reporters in hand. So, but
Yeah, both of them are amazing women. They're all amazing.
yeah. So speaking of Laura, what how did you join the Galvanized program, and what's it been like for you ever since you've been part of that program, and having Laura there, and also the other young woman reporters in the program also.
Yeah. I found Galvanized through social media. I followed a lot of NFL team reporters and a bunch of different women, and they would all talk about Galvanized. And Galvanized really drew my attention because back when I was interested in joining a few years ago, it was exactly what I was looking for in the industry, but I couldn't go at that time. I couldn't go at that time for so many different reasons. But Galvanize is a amazing group, and people ask me, who's your support system in this industry? I'm like, it's my Galvanized sisters, the people I went to Jacksonville with, and it is really an incredible investment. You are not only investing in yourself, but you are also investing in your future.
Mhm.
And having Laura in my corner just makes me feel like there's a backbone. She is incredibly supportive. She is always there to answer any texts or calls, even if it's like 1 a.m. She's there for you. And so are all the other sisters. The Galvanized experience in Jacksonville when I went back in May was incredible. I mean, it literally changed my life. I was able to interview 2 rookie players from the Jaguars,
Wow.
and who are now actually really good friends of mine, and we keep in contact and we check in on each other. We're always there for each other. Every time we're done with the conversation, they're always like, hey, let us know if you need anything, if we can help you in any way. And so going to Jacksonville, I really found my support system, and it affirmed that I wanted to keep doing what I'm doing. So it's a great investment in your future.
Wow. Yeah. Speaking of interviews, another fan question. Someone wants to know, uh, what would you say your most memorable interview you've done so far?
My most memorable interview. My most memorable interview, which is also probably my favorite interview, has to be with University of Houston's soccer team. Last year I interviewed the soccer coach who is no longer working for the team, but Diego Bocanegra has to be one of my favorite interviews. He's a great guy to talk to. He really answers your question the way he wants to answer it. He's very patient and polite, and he likes to have fun. Sometimes not interviews have to be serious and about the game. So, he's definitely one of my favorite guys to interview. But yeah.
Hmm. Oh, yeah. So speaking of Jackson, obviously you were in Jacksonville, and being part of the Galvanized program. And did you ever think to yourself, maybe you could have stayed in Jacksonville permanently? What drew you to Houston after Jacksonville?
Well, so I am born and raised in Houston. This is my home. I'm still in college. I'm only 20 years
Okay,
old.
nice.
I'm getting my bachelor's degree right now in journalism. And Houston's home for me. I've been born here. The city has seen me grow up. There's parts of the city where I feel really connected to because I've spent my rough days there. I've spent my good days there. So Houston's home for me. I can't wait to see, this is a city where I want to plant my roots in, and it'll always be forever home.
Well, yeah. So what's it like covering the Houston Texans? Obviously, you're still young and developing team, but what's it been like for you covering them, and also the Dynamo Dash?
Yeah, so for the Texans, I actually work in marketing and events and also do PR for them on game days. And it's a great opportunity to work for an NFL team. It was a pretty surreal moment when I got the job because, I grew up a Texans fan. I attended Texans games when I was in middle school and high school. And, it's really rewarding to walk into work and walk out of work. I mean, it's a great experience. When you really have the passion for something and you're truly doing something you love, it won't feel like work. Whenever I walk into work, it doesn't feel like work, you know? Um, and it's, you know, my philosophy is at a workplace, you should be able to either learn or earn. And if you're doing neither, then you should probably quit. But at the Texans and Dynamo, I'm learning and earning. So, it's been a great experience so far. And with the Dynamo, gosh, I can't even put into words how much I love the Dynamo. It's funny, I actually never even thought I would work in soccer at all. I liked soccer, but I didn't know it was a career that I want to um, work in. But I think right now soccer has touched my life in so many different ways. I think this is the league that I want to leave my mark in, MLS, and even do Champions League and stuff. So it's a great opportunity being able to work for both teams, doing PR, making game days happen. And it's really a great experience, and it doesn't feel like work.
And what's it like to be interacting with the fans and all? Obviously, rough 2 years ago. Obviously with COVID, been rough for everyone. But what's it like for you just to be interacting with fans over there?
Now I finally feel like we are back to normal for the past few months. So it's great, watching fans come in and be so passionate about the Dynamo or the Texans. I think that's sometimes what keeps the club and the players going are the fans. The Dynamo games are absolutely electric. I still remember one of my best games so far has been whenever Hector Herrera made his debut for the Dynamo. I mean, that was just electric. I mean, we had a sold out stadium. There were fans were literally trying to like protect the Dynamo players when there were bad calls by refs or whatever. They would I remember some fans are trying to even get on the field and kind of help the player out, but
Wow.
that's really what keeps fan engagement going.
Mm-hmm. So we have another fan question in here. Someone wants to know, do you have any bloopers yet?
I do have lots of bloopers actually. I actually need to make a video of a bunch of bloopers and post it on my Instagram just for some funny laughs. But yeah, I have tons of bloopers. I mean, when I do my sideline hits and stand-ups, I don't do it all in one take. It sometimes takes me 5 or 10 takes, and my cameraman can attest. Like, I will go 5 seconds in and be like, crap, I wasn't going to say this. Or I can go 10 seconds in and be like, you know what? I want to change the sentence. I can go a whole minute in and be like, and say something funny. I really just go with the flow, and it's important to have fun too. It doesn't always have to be serious. And I think that's how I kind of get through it sometimes, is to have fun with the game and, go with the flow and just have fun. It's important to enjoy the journey and the stops you make in between.
Yeah, so I'm just curious, how do you balance your school work and also working when you're covering games or working with the Texans or Dynamo Jazz, getting ready for the playoffs too. So how do you balance out your schedule and all?
You know what? It's actually really hard to do that. I have this conversation, this battle with myself every day. It's hard, being a full-time student and also have working like 3, 4 jobs in sports. It's hard. You have long hours and it's tough. Like, there are days where you feel like you want to quit and just stop what you're doing. But I think you really just have to figure out what's going to move needles for you and what your priorities are. Right now, my priorities are work, building my career, and school. So I have to kind of say no to things. And, I miss out on a lot of dinners and events, and I have a bad case of FOMO. And, it's hard. Like, there are days where I don't want to go to work because I just feel like I'm missing out on life. I'm 20 years old, I'm in college. Everybody's always like, why are you always working? Why are you always, doing X, Y, and Z? Why don't you ever come out with us? I'm like, well, I know that if I come out with you, well, I'm gonna regret not going to work, because I truly feel like if I am at work on a Friday night, I am doing what's best for my future, and I know that this work will get to where I need to be in the future. So it's hard. School, work, and life balance, it is not easy. You need to find self-care habits, you need to find a mental health routine, you need to figure out what's best for yourself, what your priorities are. And you also, most importantly, need to know what your why is. Once you figure out what your why is and what's going to keep that going, I promise you it's just going to be instinct to keep going. And it's okay to say no to things. Remember, you don't have to say yes to everything. If there's something you know that's not going to get you to where you need to be, or it's not going to move needles for you, say no. Nobody's going to care. You don't owe anybody an answer. So yeah, this whole balance is hard. I'm still trying to figure it out, and I don't know if I will figure it out. But it's just the small things that keep me going sometimes. And I've thankfully found my system of people I can talk to. So, talking to people about things, spending an hour outside in nature on a walk helps. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard. It's very, very, very hard. I won't lie.
So especially for us in this industry as reporters or journalists, it's really important to have mentors. So you like you have amazing mentors in your journey, and I have three mentors that I look up to. Amy Trask, if you know her,
She's
Tina,
amazing.
yeah,
She's a
Tina
badass.
Servasio. Do you know Tina Servasio?
I don't
Uh,
actually.
yeah, she's a local one here with us in Fox 5. And then Ryan Field from ABC is one of my other mentors. So I got three. So it's really important for us to have mentors while you focus on your other stuff. So I got to ask you this. Be honest here. One of our fans want to know, they want to know what's your family's reaction when they see you on TV?
I think they're very they're very happy. I definitely know for a fact that, so for a little backstory, both of my parents are from India. They came here in like the 90s, and they knew nothing about sports. They were like, the NFL, what's that? What's the MLS? Like, I don't know any of those things. The only thing they know is cricket, and that's not big in America at all. So I think they're definitely like always asking themselves, what did we do for Janvi to like take a career in sports broadcasting? But I know they truly believe that I made the right decision for myself, and they're very supportive. And they still have that feeling of happiness when they see me on TV doing something and reporting. So I know they're happy of it, but they're always asking themselves, like, what did we do as like Indian immigrants to like get our daughter in sports broadcasting, because it's not common at all within the Indian community.
Hmm. Yeah. So can you tell our fans about what's a what's it like seeing the women in sports grow? Obviously, we still have room to grow, but it's growing big time now. And I have 12 people part of my team with the show, and five of them are females. So what's it like seeing the growth of women in sports now?
It's amazing. The growth is only going to continue to get bigger. It's important for women to take up space and build a seat at the table for themselves. But you have to always ask yourself, why do I deserve the seat at the table? What am I doing that deserves me to have a spot at the seat at the table? And I think the women growth in sports is going to absolutely skyrocket. There's a huge support system. There's so many people out there who are willing to help women in sports. Um, it is amazing seeing women connect and really follow their passion in sports. It's hard being a female in a male-dominated industry. It's not easy. You hear a lot of nasty words and lots of nasty things, but it's important to find your tribe. And if you know this is the industry you want to leave your mark in, then there's no doubt question about it. You just have to continue to do what you do, support other women, and remember, the women aren't your competition. Don't look at them as competition. Don't look at another woman and be like, oh, hey, I'm competing against her, because that'll create jealousy and a bunch of other stuff that women in sports don't need. We already deal with a lot. So be kind, be nice to people. You never know who you're talking to either.
Yeah. So speaking of that, how do you cancel out the outside distractions and the criticism from other people? And how do you go about that?
Boundaries. I
Hmm.
don't look at the comment section on YouTube or anything, because I always know there's usually never anything nice to say.
Yeah.
And 99% of the time when somebody leaves a comment, it's a guy saying something I don't want to see. I think you really need to build a boundary with yourself when it comes to social media, because that's really where a lot of the hate and negativity is social media. You have to learn And it's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's going to take days, weeks, months, years. It's going to take a while to build up those boundaries with yourself, and you have to learn who to take advice from and who not to take advice from. Like, my mentality always is I'm not going to ask you for advice and I don't value your opinion. So it's important to build these boundaries with yourself. And yeah, I have a boundary with social media. I have a boundary with Twitter, with YouTube, Instagram. And yeah.
Yeah, so tell our fans, what are your thoughts so far on the NFL season? Obviously, week 4 already done, almost week 5 already, which is crazy to see or
Yeah.
think about. But what are your thoughts so far on the season and the Houston Texans season too?
Yeah, I think the NFL season has been off to a crazy start. It's not a start that I guess I thought was originally gonna go. Like, I thought it was gonna be completely different than what it is now, but it's football. You can never my predictions are always changing. But it's been a fun season. I love seeing Cooper Rush kind of killing it. Geno Smith is doing great. It's fun watching these quarterbacks live out their why and their dream. Not even quarterbacks, players in general. It's been a fun season. Um it's been a good season. I'm excited to see what the season holds. And for the Texan season, I'm hoping we get some wins in. If not, I'm really hoping we can also get Bryce Young, because I want the #1 pick and the draft. I want Bryce Young. So yeah.
Hey, obviously David Mills. What are your thoughts on David Mills? Because a lot of people over here are saying maybe he can be a good the future, but we don't know. But what are your thoughts on David Mills since you have the close up eye on him?
I think he's honestly, my opinion on him has always kind of changed. I think he has a lot of potential, and he's gonna do great one day, but he's gonna take a lot of time, and it's gonna be a long time for him to kind of be what the Texans need, I guess. But yeah, he's a good quarterback, a good player, and all of that. But I really want Bryce Young.
Yeah, Bryce Young is the real deal, and I've seen him obviously playing in Alabama, and this guy, I think he's gonna be the next coming of NFL future stars, hopefully. But we have another fan question for you. They want to get your take on the Tua situation with the Dolphins.
That was a very heartbreaking and scary situation. He shouldn't have not been playing that game at all. I think the doctor should be fired, and there should definitely be an investigation. I mean, you could clearly see he was not okay. Um, and I mean, I also feel like he should not have flown back with the team. I think that also, I'm not a doctor here. I have no experience in the medical field, but I mean, he right after he flew back with the team back to Miami, and I was like, really? Like, won't the elevation of the plane and coming back to land like affect him neurologically? But I mean, again, that's just my another perspective that I had, but it was a very scary, heartbreaking situation. I'm just glad that he's
Yeah.
alive. I think those things should be properly taken care of, and um, maybe treated and examined a different way. Like, because I also feel like to a lot of these teams, the quarterbacks are just quarterbacks from them, they're players, but really they're humans. Like, these people have wives, they have kids, they have, their aunts and uncles. I mean, they're people, they have regular lives just like the rest of them do. So I think we need to be I think the doctors need to be extra careful, and yeah, Tua should not have been playing at all.
No, yeah, that was exactly what we said. Same thing, same take. And Tua should not have been playing, and he got the concussion the last game too. So I'm just hoping he's fine, and and he's not gonna play. They already said he's not playing the next this week's game, so that's good. But we need him to be fully recovered. We'll take let's see, we'll take one more question. One of our fans want to know, um, if you were not in the sports industry, what would they want to know? What would you be doing now?
Mm. If I was not in sports, I don't know. I feel like would still be somewhat involved in sports. I think I would have my own agency of some kind that relates to athlete affairs. But if you really want me to pick one outside of sports, then I would say the tech innovation industry. I think that is very cool and changing every day. And yeah, I think I would choose tech innovation, but I really can't see myself outside of sports. I mean,
Yeah, nice. But yeah. So before we get to the last two things, how confident are you for the Dynamo Dash this year? This year they can win a championship.
the Dynamo's season is ending next week, and then we were out of the playoffs this year.
Oh,
So um the Dynamo are we have our last game next week. We won against Nashville about a few days ago, which was good. I think the Dynamo will be back. We'll have a good season. Next year we have the talent, we have good players. We just need to capitalize on a bunch of other things. But for the Dash, first of all, this is the first time the Dash are going to the playoffs in
yeah.
franchise history, which is amazing. And I get to be a part of it, which is very cool. I think we have a very good chance at getting to the championship. We are a great team. We have amazing players, and I'm very confident that we'll even make it to the championship round. So I'm excited to see what the Dash do.
Oh, yeah. So the last two things here, our team is part of this foundation. It's called the Hugh Jackson Foundation. He's a former NFL coach. He's now coaching at Grambling State University, and we're trying to help him prevent human trafficking, making sure the community stays safe. And we'll send you the foundation so you can go check it out.
Definitely.
And the last thing here, what do you like to say? Anything to all the nurses, doctors, and all the essential workers right now, and also the people that are right now risking their lives in Florida too. What would you like to say? Anything to them?
Yeah, thank you for your service, everybody. First responders, nurses, doctors, law enforcement. Thank you for your service. Your service never goes unlooked. I 100% support you, and I hope your families and all that are safe. And I think, especially being in law enforcement and the medical field, I think a lot of times outside people in media can be really rude to you and degrade you, and I hope that you don't let that get to you. And yeah, thank you for your service.
Yeah, well said there. And let you close it out here. Where can our fans find you on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, and what do you guys have coming up next?
Yeah, so please follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's at Janvi Oza. Please follow me on both social media platforms. I am more active on my Instagram content wise. I create lots of behind the scenes content for my sideline stuff. I'm always posting a bunch of other stuff that have to do with sports. So please give me a follow there. And yeah, I've got a bunch of high school football games coming up that I'm going to be sidelining at. The
Hmm.
tech season is still in full swing. I'll be posting about the Dash and playoffs, and I'll be creating some content there. So yeah, follow me on Instagram. It's at Janvi Oza.
So there you have it. Talented, inspiring sideline reporter, host Janvi Oza, who works with the Houston Texans and the Dash, the soccer team. Go follow her on all social media platforms. She's amazing, amazing, fantastic story.
Thank
Truly
you.
inspiring. And thank you for sharing it on this show today. We would love to have you back on the show at some point down the line so you can meet the full team. But keep up the great work. We'll be following your career, and yeah, just keep kicking it.
Thank you so much, Nathan. And right back to you too. Let me know if I can ever help you in any way. I'll keep supporting you, and you're doing a great job with your work. So keep following your why and your passion, and you'll be successful. And you already are. So the success is only gonna rise.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime. This was amazing.
Thank you so much. Let me know if you ever need anything.
Oh, I will. Let me know too. Let my team know if you need anything too. So
Thank you. I would love to meet the whole team one day. So
eventually, hopefully. Yeah.
yes,
All right.
thank you.
Yep.